Good afternoon, everyone. It is Friday, July 23rd, 2021. Today, we are going to go hands-on with the MagSafe battery pack. And we've got some interesting new rumors about some features that are coming to the iPhone and possibly even the iPad mini later this year. And we're going to want to talk about those because this is the iMore show. Joining me as always is iMore contributor Karen Freeman. Hey, Karen.
Hello.
And joining us today as our special guest is iMore news writer Stephen Warwick. Hey, Stephen.
Hello, hello.
All right. So, another week has come and gone, and we talked about it a lot last week, but it's finally in our hands. The MagSafe battery pack is here, and it's washed out on my display, but that's okay. For those who are just listening, I am holding up to the camera Apple's new MagSafe battery pack. This is one I bought myself. This seems like something they had ready to go. Mine arrived. This one arrived Wednesday. I already kind of love it. But yeah, MagSafe battery pack. And I wanted to show everybody. So I still have the iPhone 12 mini here. I wanted to show everybody who's watching how this looks on an iPhone 12 mini. So here's the 12 mini. Here's the battery pack. It just goes on. It's a little iPhone backpack.
So it does hang off the bottom.
Well, no, that's just me. That's just me. It's not. See,
user error.
Yeah, that is more user error than anything else because it doesn't like tightly grip onto the thing. You can kind of like it moves around a little. See.
So can you make it so it's definitely not hanging off the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it goes right up against the cam. Okay, so now it looks even.
Yeah.
But it goes right up against the camera module.
Right. It's right below it.
Almost. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's a squeeze, but it fits, it seems.
It does fit, but it's thick. It's thicker.
Oh yeah, it's thicker than the phone itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
okay.
And so one of the things that's things that's interesting about it, especially on the mini. I don't find this as much on the 12. It adds a bunch of heft to the mini, but it doesn't feel bad. Like it's not super. The package isn't super heavy now, and it actually it's easy. It's still easy to grip.
Mm-hmm. Might even make it like a little bit kind of more to hang on to. I could see how it might make holding your phone
a little more secure.
Yeah, but
it does feel that way.
It is secure on the back. It's not, the MagSafe wallet with the wiggle and the.
It is. It feels more secure on the back than the MagSafe wallet.
Brilliant.
Like it doesn't. I don't feel like it's gonna get chopped off when I put it in my pocket. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I guess that was the mini. This is on the 12 Pro. So also the standard size iPhone. This is that. Still thicker, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Looks a lot more natural.
It does look a little more natural.
Yeah. It's funny because it almost looks like I guess the most silly on the iPhone 12 mini, but that's as we've kind of discussed like a lot previously. That's probably the iPhone 12 that you would want it for the most because it has the smallest battery. But.
Yeah, it does fit better than the other brand that I have. So
is it Mophie that you have, Karen?
I have the Mophie. I have the Mophie one, but the Mophie also has like 3 times as much juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's plastic, right? Isn't it, Joe? But is it really plastic?
It's weird. It feels kind of, you mean the outside here?
Yeah. So, like the bit that you would see, not the bit that faces the phone.
It feels almost like a softer plastic.
Right.
Like a silicone?
Almost like a harder
like
silicone, but almost a softer plastic. Do you know what I mean?
Does it feel like the silicone case?
No, it doesn't feel like the silicone case. The back part that actually touches the phone does, because that's what's there.
Because I just assumed it would feel like, the battery cases of old. I just assumed it would be that kind of silicone-y rubber. So I was really surprised when I sort of saw people saying it was plastic.
Yeah, it definitely slides in and out of the pocket easier.
That's good.
Yeah. And anyone who's watching live, if you have questions, feel free to pop them in the comments.
Truly.
What are the because someone has already noted it, Joe? What are the charge times like in your experience?
So they're they're fairly slow. It's like you're on a 5-watt
Yeah. It's
iPhone
capped, isn't
charger.
it, at 5 watts, yeah.
However, if you plug the battery pack in and just kind of use it as a MagSafe charger, it goes the full 15 watts.
Yeah.
Right, but if you're going to do that, you might as well just plug your phone in.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? Is you don't have to, if you've already got your iPhone on the battery and it's charging on the battery, and like you come home, you can just plug the battery in and it's already on a charger.
Yeah. And in terms of capacity, like what have you found with usage? Like how much extra juice is it worth? Because I've read like as low as like, oh no, I didn't see 50%. I've read it won't charge any of the iPhone 12s to full.
No. Well, so here's the thing,
From
and
zero
I'm going to speak on this a
rather.
little. I'm going to speak on this a little because part of iOS 14.7 that came out, I believe, on Monday was adding compatibility to the iPhone 12 line for this battery pack. Now, for those not watching, I am showing my screen on my iPhone 12 mini, which is running iOS 14.7, and then I'm putting the battery pack on, and it does its little MagSafe thing, and it also has a little readout for the battery pack itself.
Ah, cool.
Now, if you go into the phone and go to the battery widget, see, it'll properly show the battery glyph and the battery's charge. However, if I do the same thing on iOS 15 beta 3, let's see if we can do this properly now. I only get a battery charge icon. Yeah, it thinks it's a cable. In fact, if you go to the battery widget, I don't have the big battery widget, so I'll just pull it up in the widget picker. Go to the big widget. In that second entry, it says generic UPS. And it still shows the battery level, but it shows it as a cable. So so that is the sort of compatibility, and it does actually it charges a device that isn't on iOS 14.7 past 90%.
Yeah. But I guess it will take a little bit more time and testing and regular, and I'm sure there'll be, software quirks, kind of like you've said, in terms of capacity, because we have the review from Christine live on iMore, and I know the thing she said was it really struggled in the heat. She had it on during the day and it was about 90 degrees in the neighborhood, which, God forbid, I don't know if that ever happened in Scotland, what would happen, but she had it on it it was about 90 degrees, and she said that while she had the phone, like the pack on her phone, like the charge didn't go up. Like it went down, but it went down by like 1% over the course of an hour. Whereas when she charged it in the evening, it was a lot cooler. And in an hour, she got about 15%. So from like 75 through 91.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
One of the things that really strikes me about this is not the device that you use if you need like a lot of power quickly. This is something I imagine that Apple feels like this is something you take along with you and then you clip to the back of your phone if you have a little battery anxiety.
Just to get you kind of over the hump at the end of the day almost.
Yeah.
So, just if you need an hour or two. But yeah, you're right. It's not certainly not a fast charger, as we've said, and
no,
the capacity isn't, monstrous that you would, it's not going to double your usage or
yeah. At the same time, it's going to keep your battery. It's going to keep your iPhone's battery. Basically, it's going to keep your iPhone's battery from sinking lower and actually charge it up a little bit. But it isn't oh wow, I have so much more power now. It's not like, which I think the old smart battery cases were kind of that, to an extent. Is that they did a great job of charging a little faster, but then again, they were also lightning based and they didn't have to do wireless charging.
So speaking of cases, does it work with the MagSafe case?
Yes, it does. It does
Does it
work
work with
MagSafe.
a non-MagSafe case?
That is a good question. I don't have a
stick.
non-MagSafe case.
it might depend on the thickness. I think some
But
accessory makers would, but like, if the case is 1 mil, 2 mil thick, you'd be okay, but any thicker you might not be.
If the standard MagSafe charger works with your case, then this will
Yeah,
work with the case.
because I do have cases that are non-MagSafe, and the MagSafe charger does work with it just fine, but it doesn't stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't get that magnetic sound. You know?
Yeah. What and the big thing, it's very expensive. Like $100 is a lot for
For half a charge.
yeah, this is true. I don't know. It seems like a lot for not a lot.
I agree with you.
Like it.
I agree with you, Stephen. I think I'm going to take a pass on that one.
Don't get me wrong, I like it, and it works really well for what I would need it for. It's just, for most people, I would think probably Anchor, the Anchor battery, because it doesn't really depend on the
power core magnetic. Yeah,
it does, and it doesn't really depend on the size of your phone. The Anchor one, I don't think that is bigger than the iPhone 12 mini.
No,
I don't think that one overhangs.
It's considerably. Like it's a bit thicker, but that has a 5,000 milliamp capacity, milliamp hour capacity. If I'm reading Christine's review right, which is
the Mophie is also 5,000,
3 times more. Just
Something like that.
That's
So that's why I wouldn't. I don't know about that. Apple MagSafe
kind of seems to me it's a bit like the MagSafe wallet, which I haven't reviewed, and like I loved it, and it's a beautifully made product and very cool and stylish, and obviously it comes with the Apple branding, but like it sounds like a tough sell, to be honest.
I would say on its own, like just thinking of this on its own, it's fine, but compared to other batteries of its type.
If it was the only product, do you think you'll keep it, Joe?
Yeah, actually I do. I don't now that I have it, I don't really have a desire I don't have a lot of need for an external battery, and this one, I mean, it's integrated with the software, and it's easy enough to slap onto the phone. So,
yeah.
I will say though that I'm glad Apple made the choice to do a standalone battery rather than a battery case.
Yes,
because the battery
definitely.
case is so phone specific. Whereas that, I mean, Joe, you'll have that battery until it doesn't battery anymore.
I will use this with an iPhone 13 mini,
and you'll use it with the iPhone 14 and 15 and so on.
Yeah. And the fact that you have more than one, I mean, it's probably not the situation for most people, but Joe, you've got two iPhones, iPhone 12 models, right? So the fact that you can pop it off one and onto the other is, of course, an advantage that you wouldn't get with a case.
Whole families and people have different models within the family, and you know you're traveling together, and somebody brings the battery, and you take turns with it, as needed.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you could like. At the most, have 2 in a household, and like someone takes a battery, someone else takes another battery.
Yeah,
you don't. Yeah, it's a solid product. They're just ones that are a lot cheaper that do pretty much the same thing, and they probably do it better.
More juice.
I think
they may not be as pretty, but they have more juice.
Certainly, that's certainly true. They're not as pretty.
It's also strange as well that it's come out. What are we? 7 months into iPhone 12? 8 months? Something like that.
Well,
if it was like a launch day product, like the other MagSafe accessories, that would have made a lot more sense. You know, if it was Apple, like the wallet, right? Apple came out with its wallet, and then down the line, other companies have followed suit and have been able to make cheaper ones or that do more. But the fact that Apple's kind of entering this market, like we said, with the Mophie and the Anchor stuff kind of already established and already seemingly operating at a higher level, I think does really make it a tough sell.
Yes, but it also gave Apple something to get everybody talking about during a slow time when there's nothing big being released.
News happened.
So, I mean, everybody's talking about the MagSafe battery.
The June-July drought, yeah.
How can we be mad that news happened?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. To be fair, I am. Yeah, I'll take news any day of the week.
And although it does go with the iPhone 12, it also will go just as well with the next model. So
yeah. It's not like this is going to become obsolete in 2 months.
Right. That would have not made any sense if it was going to.
And I think the fact that it's not like single use, the fact that you can use it, like we've said, as a MagSafe puck by charging your phone through the battery, or reverse by charging the battery through your phone, it is just a little more convenient. Did you guys see the the thing Parker Ortolani did on Twitter, where he got like an iPhone dock,
the iPhone Lightning dock.
Yeah, and he put the MagSafe battery on top of it.
Yeah,
so it's basically now like a MagSafe. It's like a magnetic iPhone dock that you can pop your phone on and off of at will.
Oh,
I thought that was electric.
And if it's in the Lightning dock, or if the battery pack is attached to the Lightning dock, it should charge at 15 watts.
15 watts, yeah. Mm-hmm. The only thing is, I don't think you'd want to perpetually leave your juice flowing through the battery pack. It would probably shorten the lifespan a little bit. But yeah, I thought it was really, really neat. It was just a cool little pop it on.
That
and magnet.
Is, I think, an especially good trick if you know you're headed out later in the day, like right after work. You'll pop your phone off the dock, but you'll have the battery on it still, so you're good to go.
Even the fact that you can charge them both at the same time, I hadn't thought about how convenient that would be.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that with the other ones? Do we
other
know?
Battery pack? So charge like the iPhone while charging the battery?
Exactly. Yeah, or the I'm guessing the reverse one is limited.
Yeah,
to
the reverse
Apple.
Charging doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Hey, reverse charging exists on the iPhone. How about that also?
For one product, but it's there. Yeah. Someone, I feel like someone somewhere is just trying to get people to pay up on a bet now.
Yeah.
It's there. We got it. It technically exists.
Yeah. It was weird. They didn't even announce it. So maybe in the next iPhone, it'll be something.
It's wild. It's completely wild.
Fanfare.
Actually, do I have... No, I was actually, because that's something I haven't actually checked in the last couple of days yet. I haven't tried the reverse charging, and I was looking to see if I had a cable in front of me where I could, and I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can charge your AirPods with the battery pack, can't you?
I think so. Let me check that, because my AirPods were.
I'm sure I've seen. Unless I'm just like, I thought so. Yeah. So
a wireless AirPod, a wireless AirPods charger, completely not even plugged in. That's wild. I didn't even figure you'd be able to do that, but
I like it. It's cool. Something to talk about, like you said, Karen. I think is the the long and short of it. Really.
Let's though. I think next time Apple should have one that really does just so like this. It covers the attendant portion of the back of the iPhone 12 mini. Let's make it so it just comes up. It has just a little bit extra battery that comes up here. And then it's just a little nubbin on the rest of the iPhones.
Round the camera housing.
Yeah.
That is really the only way they could make it.
That way once the mini phones are gone, we can remember them forever by the battery pack imprint. It's a little memorial. Oh man. All right, let's move on, because we've got it's the summer rumor season, truly. Because we have some more reports this week about what we're going to see this fall, probably see this fall. Actually, you know what? I'm seeing a note in our show notes that an actual thing that definitely happened that I want to talk about a little bit first.
Does it say Ted Lasso in all caps?
It just says Ted Lasso in all caps in our show notes. And I do want to touch on that a little bit. I just saw it in the show notes. I was like, what? We're not going to talk about Ted Lasso. Yeah,
so I just wrote
that's absolutely right. Yeah, no, we're gonna push the rumors back just very slightly, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Ted Lasso, because season 2 premiere Ted Lasso was, well, for me it was this morning.
It was for me. It was about 30 minutes ago. I literally finished it right before I came on the show.
It's good. It's so good. I missed this show. One of the things that I'm learning from the internet, though, from Twitter, is that a lot of people were not paying attention to how Apple releases its shows.
Really? Were people surprised there's only one episode?
A lot of complaints that it wasn't a binge, to which I say,
we knew that.
Well, we knew that.
We thought we knew that, apparently. Last time, I think there was 3 episodes, the first.
Yeah, but also one of the things that you got to remember is that a lot of people probably got into the show after it was all out.
It was released. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Like November, December.
And people get used to binging, and they want to binge.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that they're wrong for wanting that, but I'm also not going to say that they're
You're
right.
wrong for wanting. Yeah.
You're wrong for wanting.
I'll take the bullet.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, when I grew up, you had to watch TV when it was on. And if you missed it, you missed it. Too bad.
Karen, even I'm old enough to remember those days. Don't worry.
He had 3 channels. All TVs were like 12 inches. Was that a little after your time?
I had bigger than 12-inch TVs, but and I had cable and that. It depends what part of my childhood, because part of my childhood was spent overseas when I had 0 or 1 channel.
Yeah.
A large part of my childhood. So I had even less than most people my age.
I grew up the same way in that you had, I mean, I think we probably had a lot more channels in my childhood, but still, you had to tape things. If you wanted to watch things again immediately, you had to tape them on a VCR.
I didn't have a VCR. I don't remember having a VCR. Maybe my teen years, but definitely not before that.
But yeah, it's just so interesting. So many people, we've gotten used to the binge model. And what is fascinating to me, of all the big players, and we'll include Apple TV Plus as a big player for the purposes of this discussion, at least. But of all the big players, Netflix is really the one that's hanging on to binging.
Yeah.
Because Hulu generally does the thing where they release like 3 episodes and then the rest of them are weekly. Like a little I do like a little mini binge. So if we had like episode 1 and 2 today for Ted Lasso, that wouldn't have been bad. But I like there's
definitely something to be said for spreading it out. And it certainly depends on the show. Like, take Lost, for example. Lost was, I call Lost the last show before binging. And Lost was my life for 7 years. Like, you don't understand. I lived it. I would watch an episode. I would immediately go online, and there was like this chat room that I loved. It was called Television Without Pity. I don't even think it exists anymore. And it would be, were you on there too? I probably saw you there. I would be on there for hours after the show, like discussing every nuance of the episode. And like all week, I would be checking back in the chat room and seeing like if anybody had come up with any new theories. And I mean, I feel like I really lived in that place for 7 years.
Yeah.
And now people like most people won't even try to binge it. If they miss it, they're like, oh, it's too many episodes. Forget it. I'll never watch that. And if they do try, a lot of them can't get through it. They're like, it's just too much. And a lot of people, some people that did get through it are just like, it was okay. I'm like, but you didn't do it right. You didn't live it.
You didn't do it right.
You just watched all the episodes.
you didn't have the season 3 hiatus where it was the first 6 episodes and then 6 months until episode 7.
And I swear there was over a year between seasons at some point.
I think between season 5 and 6. I think between the second to last and last season there was a big gap.
Yeah, it was like just this sweet torture.
Oh my god. Yeah, the screen went white, and then for the first time ever, we had a Dark Lost title, and then we waited over a year for it to return.
You're right. Game of Thrones, the closest to that experience I've had since then was definitely Game of Thrones, because they did parcel out the episodes. Yeah. But the difference is that a lot of people did not watch Game of Thrones in real time, so you still couldn't talk about it in general company, because there was always somebody in the crowd that hadn't seen that episode yet. And
you didn't want to spoil it. And
you had to be careful of spoilers.
Something spoiler-worthy every episode. Yeah.
When it was Lost, like, I don't even remember now what time but everybody watched it when it was live on network TV. Everybody. Yeah. So there was no like worrying about spoilers.
You're right. Now, there are so many shows you can binge. Like, we can have a couple of, and I like the, Friday's Ted Lasso day. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen next week as the anticipation and the build-up and stuff. And yeah, like Joe, like you said, the first season, it came, it went, now you can binge it. If you really don't want to, wait around, just wait until it's all, is it 10 episodes this season again, I think?
I still think it's 10 episodes.
Wait 10 weeks, and but like from a business standpoint, like it's clearly, I don't know if you guys saw today, Apple, like the Apple online store was just exclusively Ted Lasso. There wasn't a single Apple product on the page. It was just blue, Kindness Makes a Comeback, Ted Lasso's face, stream it here. Like, for Apple to cover up its website like that, like, they know that they're onto a winner, and like it is by far and away like the the most popular show on the
yeah.
channel, on the platform.
I feel like when Apple TV Plus was first introduced, that the morning show was supposed to be like the big flagship series that got everybody on.
Which maybe For All Mankind, yeah.
And they have all these big budget shows, and then Ted Lasso just snuck in. I don't think Apple expected that to be their big hit, and it just caught on fire.
The one based on the dumb commercials for NBC Sports. No, I don't think anyone would have predicted that.
It was such a crazy idea.
Yeah, but now they know they're milking it for all it's worth, and good for them, I say.
I just think Ted Lasso was just the right show at the right time. It came out like towards the end of the pandemic.
Feel good when we needed feel good. Yeah,
exactly. Like, so they were just, shows were getting like really mean spirited. The whole world is mean spirited, was feeling very mean spirited. And here comes this like sweet show. And it's so uplifting.
Yeah.
We needed
Ted Lasso it's the only Apple TV Plus show I've seen, I think, apart from the Harry and Meghan stuff with Oprah. Ted Lasso is the only Apple TV Plus title that I've seen like go beyond like the Apple sphere, if that makes sense. Like I operate in the Apple sphere. Like I read the blogs and my Twitter followers and stuff like that. Like we all, but I've seen Ted Lasso in places where I wouldn't expect to see kind of any other Apple TV Plus kind of show. So I think that's kind of how you know that it has got this real kind of cultural kind of pull, and it's been a real success.
The only other one now I have seen, like in my sort of social media circle, the other one, or the two others that I've seen kind of spin off out of the Apple sphere are For All Mankind, which is well deserved. It's a great show, but then Mythic Quest, especially this season.
Yes. I'll tell you what, Dickinson, I believe, has a very devoted fan. Yeah,
especially among the younger set.
I think that's mostly because Haley Steinfeld has a devoted and
it's tackling it, and it's tackling like LGBTQ issues, and it's got a unique take like on that time period.
Yeah,
very like there's a certain level of almost Hamilton-ness to Dickinson where it's tackling that time period through a more modern lens and also like language.
Lots of anachronisms and stuff. And Karen, have you seen the first episode of Ted Lasso?
I have not. I was waiting to watch it with my son, who we're going to go visit in a couple of weeks, and I found out he already watched it. So I'll watch it soon.
Oh, no. Oh.
I said, don't watch anymore.
Oh, betrayal.
Just top 10 anime betrayals.
Well, I thought the first episode was great. The best way to describe it is exactly like the first season, which
it's more Ted Lasso, but already now it feels like they're preparing at least to deepen the characters. Like, without spoilers, Karen, there's more focus on Danny Rojas in this first episode than there was through most of the first season.
He was a little bit of a caricature the first season.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sort of a likable caricature.
Yeah, just like a golden retriever. But a person.
That's a good way.
That's the way. I think that's the way they put it in his introductory episode. He's like a golden retriever is a person.
No.
Yeah.
Joe, I agree with you. I thought it was great. That's the best way to describe it. It's just more Ted Lasso. Like I don't think you could do much better. Really. All the reviews that I've seen have been extremely positive.
Yeah.
It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes from 41 critics, which I think is quite impressive.
I have to confess, Stephen, it is pretty funny to hear you call it Rotten Tomatoes.
We call it tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Very American of me, I know, but I did just that just hit my brain funny.
It was funny.
I saw like the jar on your face. Like, oh, what did he just do? Rotten Tomatoes, 100%. So
Sorry. That sounds weird hearing you put on an American accent. So. Just say it your way.
That's what you should do one time. You should come onto the show, Stephen, and just do it completely in an American accent just to weird people out, including me and Karen.
We'll do Scottish.
Yeah, I think the problem is like there's no there isn't like an American accent, is there? If I did an American accent, you'd be like,
newscaster.
Oh, that's
Newscaster American.
Like Midwestern generic.
Yeah. Apparently someone in the chat used to live in Richmond and deliver newspapers to like the Ted Lasso locations. And so he's having a lot of fun watching the show and seeing like where they lived and grew up, which is very exciting. I'm very jealous.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked a lot about Ted Lasso. I wasn't expecting that, but that's great.
Yep.
It's delightful. We should mark in 10 weeks' time and do a whole episode season recap of Ted Lasso.
We will discuss like every week I'm here. I think we should discuss Ted Lasso.
A Ted Lasso spoiler cast at the end of the season. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
But moving on to, we have some rumors now, and the intriguing thing for me about these rumors is the source, really, because it's Mark Gurman, who is quite accurate with his stuff.
I think is underselling it, really. But
let's first talk about the iPhone 13, because this is something that Android phones have had for a while. That and the Apple Watch has had now for a couple of years. That I'd be very happy to see come to the iPhone, and that isn't always on display. So, Stephen, why don't you tell us about this particular rumor?
Yeah, so Mark Gurman, this is from quite early this week, actually. He's talking about the iPhone 13 in his new newsletter, and he's just sort of confirming like a lot of what we already knew. Like the A15 chip is kind of self-explanatory. You just take it's just A+1 every year, right, with the iPhone. The smaller notch we've heard a lot about, and we've been hearing a lot about a new display, 120 hertz display, at least for the Pro models. But the sort of the vibe with that is that with 120 hertz, you also need the LTPO technology, which is what we have in the Apple Watch that gives us the always-on display, because it's the variable refresh rate, right? So when you're not looking at it, your watch is on, but it's only refreshing like 1 hertz a second or 2 hertz a second or whatever to save battery. So to have that 120 hertz display on the iPhone and for it to not chew through all of your battery and half the time that the 60 hertz would, you need also that always-on display. So it sounds like this is, again, like I said, we've heard this a bunch, but I think this is the first time like Gurman has confirmed 120 hertz and the Apple Watch like always on display, which I think is very exciting. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense from a power point of view, because 120 hertz is a big ask to go from 60 hertz to that without sacrificing a lot of juice. So yeah, I'm excited. It sounds really good. It'll be a big upgrade for the Pro models, at least. It doesn't sound like it's coming to all of the new iPhones, which makes sense. That's why it's the Pro. It's why, I guess, why it costs more. But,
I would love an always-on display, but I would not love it to drain my battery. So
this is true. You don't want the trade-off, exactly.
That's something that OLED makes easier. A prospect that OLED makes more possible, at least, because it only lights what needs power, and if it's a special mode. I wonder what they do with if they have anything special planned for like notifications on the iPhone 13, if it does have this always-on display.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, because I don't always hear the sound of my phone. And with iOS 14, like the phone doesn't even go off all the time. But like a really consistent like prompt for me is like if I have my phone on my desk, it goes from, asleep to awake when a notification pops up, and I look at it and I can see what it is. But when you've got that always-on display, that obviously disappears. And so, yeah, for me, certainly, I know I prefer having the sleep to awake to kind of like that visual trigger to say like, oh, you need to give your phone some attention. So
interesting. Yeah. I wonder though, if the always-on display would be kind of like a duller, when you're not when it's not in use, so that certainly, when you get a notification, it would be then get brighter. So then it would still be noticeable out of the corner of your eye.
It might even be like an always-on display, but it would just be like a kind of almost like a black and white, or so you could just see like the
time, for example.
Slide to unlock, or maybe like a couple of the symbols up at the top. But yeah, so it might not be like your full display kind of on all the time.
Well, yeah. I wonder, so I would imagine it works a little like the Apple Watch. So does anybody else here have an Apple Watch with an always-on display?
Series 3 for me.
I do. I do. I have the Series 6.
All right. So, Karen, you know how, like, I don't know what watch face do you generally use?
I use the, I forget the name of it. It's like the one with the most.
Yeah, like modular, infograph modular, I think.
Infograph, yeah, that's it.
So I use the regular, I guess call it the regular infograph face. It's a dial here. If I can swing my watch around, but see how you don't see the second hand on this, and then you activate the screen and you'll see, you'll eventually see the second hand. I'd imagine it's something like that where maybe you get like, I know on some Android devices that do this, at least you get a tiny icon up towards the clock that has like a 1 or a 2, like the number of notifications you've received for that particular app. I wonder if they might do something like that.
Yes, it's basically like the display is always on, but sometimes it is more on than
sometimes it is more on.
When I use one of the other faces, of course, you can kind of see now it's not really on. It's sort of, this is how the always on looks. It's kind of dull.
Yeah.
And dimmed. And then when I actually move, then it brightens up. So if they do the same thing with the phone, then you'll still notice it when you get a notification, I think.
But no, that's exciting. But yeah, like I said, they do go hand in hand. I've seen like one display analyst at least say like, you can't have one without the other. The 120 hertz display, it needs so much power to run at full tilt that it also has to have LTPO, the variable refresh rate, to get it. So yeah, seems like
and that really is an OLED thing. That's less like the iPad does it without LTPO, but it is also an LCD, or now on one of them a mini LED display.
Yeah.
It's not really an OLED thing, but it's fascinating. Is that the first time we're hearing about an always-on display for the iPhone 13 is through this newsletter?
I'm sure it's come up before, but I think it would have been in the context of, we think the iPhone 13 is getting a 120 hertz display, which means it needs LTPO so it doesn't destroy the battery. Hey, if there's LTPO, there might as well be an always-on display, just like the Apple Watch. So it's kind of like a process of elimination almost, I'd have to double check. I don't know off the top of my head, but you might be right. This might be the first time a leaker like, Gurman has come out and said, this is definitely the thing.
And did I hear that right? You said that that this is probably bound just for the pros?
And we've seen that on kind of, multiple reports saying that this is a pro feature.
Gotcha.
Which, like I said, it makes a lot of sense. It's a good way for Apple to differentiate the Pro from the not Pro, justify the price.
The more of those features they have for the Pros, probably the better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. The current lineup, I don't think that there's that much spread between the 12 and the 12 Pro.
Yeah.
I mean, the obvious, the cameras, but
yeah, and there's an even greater difference between like the camera on the Pro and the Pro Max, because they've got the special sensor. But that is supposed to be coming to all of the phones this year, up and down the line.
Yeah. We've been hearing for ages that the Pro Max camera is coming to the whole lineup.
I think that was one of the first rumors we got of the iPhone 13 last year. Yeah, like in October or something.
Exactly. Yeah, it was. I think it was Ross Young, display analyst, who said same lineup, 3 sizes, 4 phones, 3 sizes. Camera from the 12 Pro Max is coming to all the phones, which is very exciting.
Yeah. We have another rumor here from Mark Gurman. I don't know, Stephen, if this is from the same report, but he's also got some stuff on the new MacBook Pros.
Yes, this is about the launch window, isn't it?
Soonish.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think this is from the newsletter again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you don't know, Mark Gurman has a newsletter that goes out every Sunday. It's very exciting. There's a lot of just like throwaway bits of like very exciting information, certainly for us. So, so Mark is reporting, we've been hearing like a ton that Apple has new MacBook Pros in the works, mini LED displays, new 16-inch model, a new 14-inch size, slightly beefier Apple Silicon, and coming. Previously, it was as early as the summer from Mark Gurman, and now it's between September and November, which I'm sure Mark knows more than that, but it's more of an educated guess. Like, I probably could have told you between September and November, like it wasn't going to be December, and we knew it was, no products before September, so...
I was going to say, this is not an AirPods Max launch. This is a mainline set of products.
Yeah.
That they're going to want to give.
They usually release the laptops right after the back to school sales end.
Yeah,
of course they do.
It's a great way to clear the inventory, clear the decks.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll follow the same configuration as last year? What was it? iPhone in September? No.
It was Watch and iPad Air in
Watch
September.
and iPad in September. iPhone. Well, so obviously they won't follow that configuration. But do you think they'll do like a September, an October, and a November?
So here's what I'm wondering is, I feel like a couple of weeks ago there was a rumor that they'd launch them all at the same event, which
Apple's like fall bonanza.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. That'd be a fun night on the in the newsroom.
Just a smorgasbord of news and devices.
Yeah,
so much planning.
But yeah, it's just a more specific launch window, which is September, November. So that's what 12 weeks of possible.
Yeah. I definitely don't think they'll release them all at the same time. You know?
No, it'll be.
I feel like even if they announce the MacBooks, those are like and they're coming next month thing.
Yeah.
And they'll focus more on the iPhone and the Apple Watch and those releases.
Yeah. I think the way Apple did it last year with the lots of separate events that were, very kind of short, punchy, just a couple of products. Yeah, very focused. I think that went really well. I think without having, a big in-person event, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. And
they don't have to have a hands-on section.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, if they're not doing it in person, it seems like they might as well have separate, smaller events. Yeah. It just, I think it sort of prolongs the excitement.
Yeah.
If they dump everything at once, everyone's like going crazy for a week and then everybody kind of forgets about it. But if they're, every month or so having another event and a whole new product release, it's kind of keeps that excitement level high.
These MacBooks are going to be the bee's knees, by the way. Like the Apple Silicon sounds crazy. They're bringing back the SD card slot, HDMI. MagSafe is apparently making a comeback. New design, so like the curved edge portion.
MagSafe everything.
Yeah, is on its way out. I think it could be a really big year.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
Instead of the old MagSafe charger, it's just this giant slot in the side of a MacBook that you can slide like an iPhone MagSafe charger into.
Like a puck hole. Yeah. I saw like a funny like concept meme of someone. It was like MagSafe's coming back to the MacBook, and it was just the iPhone puck over the over the MacBook, over the Apple logo, like on the back of the thing. So it's pretty cool.
Charges at 15 watts, but it's a MacBook.
Yeah. Apparently these we were supposed to not necessarily already have these, but they were supposed to be announced earlier, but they've been held up because of the mini LED display.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, which it seems to be just the pervading theme of all mini LED for all time is just production delay. So
there's production delay in a lot of different tech areas.
This is very true.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's wild to me. Mini LED for all time, and then we've got these rumors of the next iPad Pro is going to have an OLED display.
Yep.
We're just going to cut that loose after a year or after a generation.
Maybe it's all the production delays. Maybe Apple has decided it's more hassle than it's worth, and
wild though that OLED itself on a tablet-sized device isn't that kind of hassle, if true. Yeah. Speaking of mini LED, though. We have another rumor. This I don't believe is from Mark Gurman though, but it concerns the upcoming iPad Mini 6.
Oh, well, we have two rumors.
Yeah, well, we have two rumors of those.
Diametrically opposed.
Yeah, we have two rumors here. It's a dueling banjo of rumors here. So first, I think it was Digitimes was out. Correct, exactly. With a report that there would be a mini LED display on the iPad Mini, which I immediately have doubts. Exciting if true, but I immediately have doubts because first of all, I don't think we've heard anything about, say, mini LED on the iPad Air anytime soon. Yeah, which
no,
I feel like
would be the natural progression.
So mini LED. What I'm supposed to understand from what I'm supposed to get from this Digitimes article is that they're going to put mini LED in their biggest iPad, not the next iPad down or the one after that, but then their very smallest iPad.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird one.
In Digitimes' defense, it does depend how you read the report. because it says, so the supplier concerned is called Radiant Optoelectronics. And Digitime says, we'll kick off shipments of its backlight units for the upcoming Mini LED MacBook Pro and iPad Mini. Now, maybe an Oxford comma in there.
Yeah, that doesn't
Could
necessarily
possibly-
mean the Mini LED applies to the iPad Mini.
So certainly the report I'm reading, our report, has interpreted it as to say Mini LED iPad Mini.
Yeah.
Even the name sounds clumsy, doesn't it? Like it's
there is I
iPad
feel like
Mini
some
LED.
missing. There's probably missing a missing article or something in there,
So
or
it could be like a
punctuation.
translation or like a. This is why grammar matters, kids.
yeah.
Because that rumor lasted for about all of 6 hours, and then display analyst Ross Young says that there will be no Mini LED iPad Mini this year, and he says that that Digitime's story wasn't correct. That he's confirmed with the alleged supplier that there is an iPad Mini. It is coming this year, but it won't have a Mini LED display.
Which that's yes.
Panic over. It sounds a lot more feasible.
That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. It's definitely a trickle down feature, isn't it? Where it starts with the Pro at the top end. The devices get cheaper, the technology gets cheaper, and it's sort of, down the rungs of the ladder, as it were.
I mean, it's hard. I obviously it's hard enough to make those displays for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, which is currently, from all of the actual facts that we have, the only device that Apple manufactures with that kind of display.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they may be making MacBook-wise, it's currently just the iPad Pro. Allegedly. It's currently just the iPad Pro, and it's the big one at that. So they're not gonna skip the two relative to the iPad Pro and relative to the iPad Mini, the two slightly smaller iPads before they put it in the making technology smaller is harder. That includes display tech.
Yeah.
You don't just cut off these mini LEDs and stick it there.
The thinner. Do you remember the thinner and lighter days of Apple when it was just Johnny Ive, new product. Here's the new iPhone. Guess how much thinner it is. Guess how much lighter it is.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
We're done with that now apparently. But
we were if Johnny Ive was still at Apple, we'd be still waiting for the iPhone that was like this thick.
Yeah.
It's like paper cardstock thick.
Yeah, no battery, can only be used plugged in.
Oh gosh.
It runs off your own bioelectricity. You get tired a lot sooner. You run out of battery power.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your vision starts to blur a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So long story short, no Mini LED in the iPad Mini, but there will be an iPad Mini, which we've heard a lot about, which apparently is getting the design overhaul. It has been due for like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
To bring it in line with the Pro and the Air. So square edges, rounded corners, thinner bezels, no home button, no
I'd imagine
chin.
Touch ID
ID in the top, power button, absolutely. A USB-C connector, smart connector as well. 9 to 5 Mac reported earlier this week.
That's going to be sweet.
So possibly, would your hands fit in a Magic Keyboard for iPad Mini?
Yeah, I've used a mini keyboard, but I guess I have smaller hands than you guys do.
There might well be a Magic Keyboard for iPad Mini in the works, because there's a smart connector. I think we've also heard that there's going to be like a special Apple Pencil for the iPad Mini.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. Yeah, we've talked about this. The current Apple Pencil, even if they like bumped up the size of the Mini chassis a little,
is it too long?
I think it would run into the buttons.
Yeah.
It's not too like if you were to move the volume buttons to the other non-charging side, it wouldn't be a problem. However, that would be a problem for iPad cases because you wouldn't be able to reach the buttons in the case.
No,
like in a folio case, that wouldn't work.
Yeah. But yeah, the iPad Mini, and the other thing, the big thing about the iPad Mini is it'll actually have an A15 chip like the iPhone 13. I imagine it will come after the iPhone 13, but like that is a lot of power in a that's like putting a rocket ship in a toaster. Like,
well, what you got to understand about the iPad Mini, and the iPad Air is that they have been since, I want to say 2013, but it might be 2014. They have been essentially power matched. Is they've had the same processor. Now, obviously, we could be. What I'm saying here is that we could also be looking at an iPad Air revision this year with an A15, but they've always had the same fairly up to date processor in them. And if you'll remember, the iPad Air launched with the A14 even before the iPhone 12 series was announced.
Yeah. So the iPad Mini 6 is shaping up to be pretty hot
impressive.
stuff.
Impressive one.
Yeah. Just like the iPad Air was, I think, last year when they made those design changes. It was like, oh, yeah, there's an A14 chip. Like, oh my goodness.
And I feel like for a lot of people who write with the Apple Pencil, this could be sort of the perfect digital notebook.
Or a very fancy
I would imagine
e-reader.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though if they bumped up the price to $499, just like which is $100 up from the old price.
I'm really thinking about an iPad Mini for my next iPad. I'm not looking to buy it just yet, but it's shaping up to be
not buy just yet.
Quite a nice.
This is a terrible time to buy an iPad Mini.
Not the time to buy an iPad Mini.
Also,
or a MacBook Pro for that matter. Or an iPhone.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but don't buy an iPhone now either. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean the current model.
Yeah,
but
then, when they do the update. But no, I'm not in the market. My iPad Pro is still going strong. But
just a great segue into a public service announcement, I think, is there. M1 iMac, that's safe to buy.
Yeah, so
and
M1 iMac is safe to buy. But now I do want to address this comment. We got MX4211 in the comments. So I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but recently there was a report of a 32-inch iMac.
Yes.
On its way, I think later this year is the idea.
I think so.
Was it later this year? And
it's very nebulous. We don't really know, I think, is the...
And this
but there is one in the works.
And this would be the replacement for the 27-inch
correct
iMac.
Yeah.
And
I think the gist we got was that Apple had them both in the works and then put the 32-inch one aside to focus on the new recently released M1 iMac.
Yeah. And this would be like an M1X machine.
Yeah, I would expect a similar design and similar sort of beefy internals. It could even be like an iMac Pro or positioned as one.
Yeah,
it doesn't have colors.
The colors aren't as fun.
So to our friend in the comments, if you can hold off, I would.
Yeah,
because there's going to be something pretty cool coming out.
Well, how big's the M1 iMac?
The M1 iMac is 24 inches.
24 inch. Oh, of course, it was 21 to 24. Yeah.
So 21 and a half to 24.
This person was asking about the larger.
Yeah. If you don't want to downsize, wait.
Yeah.
But you won't have to wait too long.
I mean, it depends on what you do with your iMac, but like if you really need a new iMac right now, the M1 is probably good for you. But if you say need more RAM or something like that,
a bit more graphics.
I can't imagine the M1X is limited to 16 gigabytes of RAM.
I think it's 64 because it's the same chip that's the M1X is what Mark Gurman has been talking about is going into the new MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
Which will allegedly have 10 cores, 8 high performance, 2 high efficiency, he said up to 64. Someone else said up to 32 gig of RAM, and then either 16 or 32 graphics cores.
Yeah. And then there's an absolutely, now this is from a rumor a while ago that there's an absolutely beefy, like almost dual chip bound for a future Apple Silicon Mac Pro.
Yeah.
That is essentially 2 processors and it's got like 128 graphics cores or something like that.
Yeah, obscene stuff, really.
Yeah, it's I think we're in for a bit of an exciting fall.
Yeah,
maybe not necessarily with the iPhone, or certainly not the design, but iPad Mini, M1X computers, eventful. I think I will get this theoretical M1X iMac. I'm a desktop computer person, and unless they release a better version of the Mac Mini,
I've been eyeing the M1 Mac Mini refurbished. It's like $600 for an M1 computer.
Mac Mini's a solid computer. It just doesn't have the ports I need. The current M1 doesn't have the ports I need.
I have a very fat. I can't even remember who makes this. I have a very big, heavy duty like dock thing that has literally all of the ports, so I could operate with basically anything. Apologies to whoever sent me this. I've forgotten the name of your company.
Karen, are you in the market for a new Mac anytime soon?
No. My MacBook Pro is still going. It's 3 years old. It's still going strong.
That's fine.
3.5 years old. So I spoil myself with a new iPhone every year. So I try to hold out longer with my other devices.
On the big stuff. On the really big stuff.
Are you guys on you have the iPhone upgrade program in America, right? Are you on the iPhone upgrade program?
I am.
I am not. I was, but because I on Verizon through my son's workplace, it's not allowed. So I had to pay for it outright last time.
Oh, well. Joe, if the iPhone comes early compared to last year, what do you think is going to happen to your last payment?
So
how do you think Apple are going to?
The way this has happened before. Yeah, this has happened before. Where they've technically, I mean, I don't know if it's like that much longer before, but they'll generally say, you can just upgrade now, because they want you to upgrade now.
That would be nice
as soon as you get it.
Yeah, because I
I'm
remember
a launch day iPhone person.
The last time it was less than a year, they definitely let people upgrade on release day. I don't remember exactly how it worked with the money.
I feel like the way they did it was I think this was going from iPhone 10 to iPhone 11. Or no, iPhone 10 to iPhone 10s it would have been. Because remember the iPhone 10 actually launched like late October. Yeah, like a month, even a month later.
10,
But then the 10s launched in September of the following year, like it normally would. And so it was an 11th month cycle instead of 12. And I think they just said, get it. We want you to get it. What?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
What don't you people understand? We'd rather have some money than all of it.
Yeah, then no.
Yeah, because I was on the iPhone upgrade program at that time, and I did do exactly that. I had the 10, and then I had the 10s. And I got them both on launch day. I always get on launch day. So
yeah. Launch day gang.
Yeah, launch day gang. Yeah. All right, everybody.
Joe, on an unrelated note, I need a day off on a Friday in September.
Not that Friday.
I can't tell you.
Not that Friday. All right, we've come down to the end of our hour. It's a good show this week, everybody. Some exciting things to talk about. Ted Lasso is back. That's the news of the week, really, is Ted Lasso is back.
The show was good. It wasn't as good as Ted Lasso season 2, episode 1, but it was.
There you go. All right. So big thanks to everyone who showed up to listen and watch live. Everyone who showed up in the comments. It was great it's always great to see and hear from all of you. Big thanks to everyone who's going to watch and listen later in their podcatcher of choice or on YouTube. Huge ups to Jim Metzendorf, who always makes it sound so wonderful. Thanks to Stephen for being here this week. And
my pleasure. Sorry, I forgot you were.
Thanks.
Checked out. Gone.
All right, and until next time, this has been the iMore Show. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.